Hey everyone, it's Jessica Michaels here with another project for Shimmerz Paint's design team for you today. I'm using day 14's sketch for 30 Days of Sketches by Lisa Sikorsky. So thank you, Lisa, for creating such a beautiful sketch for us. I had a completely different plan for this layout. I actually spent about an hour and a half tonight tearing my room apart and looking for my scallop fringe die, which has apparently been lost and I have no idea where it is, which is odd for me because I am usually a fairly organized person. I keep all my dies together, so there's really no place for them to go. And I don't know what happened. I don't know if I threw them away, but this is like the third thing that's gone missing within the past couple weeks in my room. And I'm totally blaming the puppy at this point. I have no idea where these three things went. I am missing a letter A from a stamp set. And what was the second thing? I can't even remember the second thing I lost. And then this die set. So yeah, I at this point am just blaming it on the puppy because it's not me, right? So I just layered this up, just ripping some pieces of pattern paper from the Shimmerz October kit. And I was originally going to do scallops, but I just ripped them and distressed them instead. And then here I'm just smudging on some white Liquitex Gesso on some gray basil cardstock. That's really hard to say all that. And then I just kind of smudged it around my paper and set it aside to dry. I'm just working on my photos, backing them with some white cardstock. I'm just going to leave these. I'm not going to add any more patterns behind this. I'm going to keep that pretty basic. This part here is mixed media. I left this a little bit slower so that you guys could watch this process and kind of see it as it happens. But I've got the color kit here from October, and I'm going to be working with the Color Splash Black Hole, which is the black one here. What I do is I just water down my gessoed portion, and then I'm just going to spray this directly on to where the gesso is. And then I'm just going to move it around a little bit. I'm adding a little bit more water to get more mobility in that, so that it will move around. I'm just being careful so that it doesn't roll off of the gessoed part, because if it does, it's going to just sink right into that paper. So the gesso, when I put gesso down on my paper, what that does is that kind of preps it for mixed media, and it allows the colors to blend together and be able to actually hold up and not just seep right through the paper, because paper itself is pretty porous, so it's just going to suck up anything you put on there. But when you use gesso, it allows it to set on top of the gesso, and you can move it around like this. And you can see that orange color is the vibes in Pumpkin Pie, and it's just really kind of blending in with the black a little bit. I'm allowing those two colors to kind of go together and just roll and blend. If it's not rolling and moving around for you, add more water, because usually when you add more water, then you'll get that blendability. And then here, I'm just grabbing the My Clementine Creamies. This is in the little palette there that you see. They switched over from the pots to the palettes. So I have like a watercolor palette here that I put them in whenever I put them away. And I'm just using this to add some splatters. So I'm just adding some water to the little palette there. The creamies come hard like that, so you have to add water to activate them. So that's all I did, was I just added a little bit of water to get some color, and then I just flicked it on with my paintbrush into the different colors. Same thing I'm doing here. This is again the white gesso that I'm pulling back in. I'm just watering it down a little bit with some water and then just flicking it on with my paintbrush just to break up the color a little bit. And that gesso is going to actually sit on top of my paints. That's why I like to use gesso for that, because I know it's not going to blend in. If you want more of a marbled effect, I would suggest using either water itself to just flick on for splatters. It'll create like a marbled effect in your colors. Or you can also use white acrylic paint while your paint colors are still wet. If your paint dries and you flick on the white paint, it's going to create more defined splatters, where if you use it when it's wet like this, it will create more of a marbled effect. Same with gesso, but gesso tends to just sit on top of the paint, and that's why I like to use it. So I have some colors here that I am just flicking on some more splatters, as you can see, after I have dried it a little bit with my heat gun. And I had one splatter that kind of got away from me way up there, so I just dried it up a little bit with a paper towel. I'm going to start working on this layout. So I'm going to add my papers here that I put together early on in this layout, and I'm just putting that right at the top like Lisa's sketch. And then I've got my 3 photos here that I'm using. These photos, I kind of kicked around switching the layout of this and moving it the other way, but I still kept with the sketch design for once. A lot of times I'll go rogue and do my own thing, but this one I stuck pretty closely to the sketch for the most part. So I've got my photos there. My mixed media is pretty dry at this point. I'm just going to use some Nuvo glue to glue down this chipboard piece. That's going to act as my title on this one, and then I'm just going to embellish around it. So I've got some of the die cut pieces from the Shimmerz kit. I've got some of the Simple Stories Boo Crew collection. I've also got some of the Simple Stories FaBOOlous collection as well. So these little florals are from that one, and then I've got a sticker sheet from the Boo Crew collection that I'm going to use as well. I think that's actually where those cute little skeletons came from. I couldn't separate them. I had to keep them together because they're just super cute, and there was actually 2. These photos are from my mom and dad's camp, and they like to decorate with skeletons all year round, and they had gotten these little skeletons that came as a set. And they play the saxophone, and it's just hilarious. And my daughter just absolutely loved them. She was dancing and laughing. She just thought they were the greatest thing ever. So it was just so fun and just extremely funny just to watch her interact with them. And my son was trying to hug them and hold their hand, and it was just funny. So I had to snap a few crazy pictures of them. She's getting her jig on there in that right photo. You could see she's kind of bending down. She was dancing. But it was just so fun, and it was a great time. So these 2 little skeletons from that sticker sheet, I just couldn't separate them because they were together when the memory happened, and I figured these guys had to stay together. So I've got some embellishment here from the Shimmerz kit. I've used that top one there with the kind of orange moon and the bats. And then that little candy at the bottom right was from the Shimmerz kit. So if you want to grab that kit, I suggest you grab it fast because I think last time we checked, they only had a couple left in stock. So if you like this October one, hurry up and grab it from the Shimmerz shop. Make sure you use my name, Jessica, in the notes of your order, and you'll get a free gift along with your order as well. Let's see here. What else am I adding? Some word phrases, of course, because I love my little wordy bits on my layouts. I'm just going to add a few more embellishments here to the bottom. I'm not going to cover up a lot of this mixed media. I'm going to grab some flair from Scrap and Happy Studio. I got that little skeleton flair that I really thought would go perfect on this layout. And then I'm going to put some thread behind that. I really like this little bat. I'm just going to pop them up with a 3D foam square. Yeah, I'm going to add some thread and tuck that in here in a couple different spots. And I'm just going to let the mixed media on this one really shine. I really enjoyed this sketch. This is for 30 Days of Sketches, which is a new sketch every day for the whole month. It's put on by Christy from Christy's Beautiful Life. And I just love this series. She does it, I think, 3 times a year, so 3 different months out of the year. She does a daily sketch every day, and they are done by creators. So I have one this month as well. I think mine was day 16, I think, if I remember right. This one's for day 14, and I just love it. I love the series. It's like one of my favorite things to do is just be inspired by a sketch. So I really enjoy playing along, and there is a playlist that I will link down below in the description for you. If you guys want to hop along with all of the other creators that are playing along with all of these sketches, there's an entire playlist. So you can just click on that YouTube playlist link in my description. It'll take you there to the whole playlist where everybody adds their videos for all of the days in there. So you can just have a field day with watching everyone's creations. And it's just really, really fun. And it's really neat to see everybody's individual takes on the same sketch and just see how unique they all come out. So here's the finished layout. I hope you guys enjoyed this process today, and I hope I've inspired you to try some mixed media on your layouts. And if you have any questions, as usual, let them in the comments below for me. And thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you all have a great day. Bye-bye.